Hulk vs. Juggernaut is an iconic matchup, one you can go back and forth with for forever and never really come to a clear consensus. But today we're upping the ante, with two of the most powerful versions of these characters going head to head. World Breaker Hulk versus Trion Juggernaut. Who comes out on top? Let's find out. After being bombarded with a massive dose of gamma radiation while saving a young man's life during the testing of an experimental bomb, Dr. Robert Bruce Banner was transformed into the Incredible Hulk, a green behemoth who is the living personification of rage and pure physical strength. But today we're not just going to be using any old version of the Hulk, but World Breaker Hulk, who has repeatedly been called the strongest iteration of the Hulk we've ever seen. Just to make things even more interesting, let's also include feats from World War Hulk, as World Breaker Hulk is just World War Hulk who is no longer holding back. Basically the same character. So when World War Hulk came to Earth, Doctor Strange said the Hulk never been stronger before. Said it twice. Nominated Cho even said Hulk was holding back the entire event, and he really could have killed all of them if he wanted to. Hulk was strong enough to beat the Iron Man World War Hulk Buster, take down She-Hulk with just one punch, quickly took down Juggernaut, laid a massive beatdown on Hercules, even beat a confident Sentry in hand-to-hand combat. Although, yes, technically Bruce Banner knocked out Robert Reynolds, but it was the Hulk that did most of the heavy lifting there. Hulk was able to take down Kitty Pryde and Ghost Rider with a thunderclap, even alter the moon's gravity with his shockwaves. Hulk's durable enough to take attacks on pretty much every super being on Earth, including Hercules, Sentry, and Juggernaut. Also survived attacks hard enough to send chunks of the moon the size of Rhode Island flying into space, so that nukes would only make him more powerful. He also wasn't even bothered by Human Torch's Nova Blast, Cyclops Blast, and Ghost Rider's Fire. He instantly healed himself from having his eyes slashed out, rocks phased into his arms, being pierced with adamantium shrapnel, having a hole punched through his lungs by Sentry, and a hole punched through his chest by Doctor Strange. He even took a death touch designed to overload his healing factor. All these attacks he healed through pretty much instantly. This version of the Hulk is also surprisingly fast, as he can move and attack in a blur, create super impacts with his landings, and blitz Iron Man. But see, the thing is, Hulk was actually holding back the entire time through the World War Hulk story. When Hulk no longer decides to hold back, that's when he transforms into World Breaker Hulk. And World Breaker Hulk is strong enough to wear his simple steps, generating enough power to nearly destroy the entire East Coast. He sent Fin Fang Foom flying through a mystical barrier for Thunderclap. This version of the Hulk is actually able to literally destroy planets, such as the shockwaves from the force of his blows. So, let's figure out one corner. The strongest iteration of the Hulk we've ever seen, World Breaker Hulk. But, entering the ring, at the corner, one of the strongest iterations of the Juggernaut we've ever seen, Trion Juggernaut. Cain Marko, also known as the Juggernaut, is the stepbrother of X-Men founder Charles Xavier and the avatar of Sidorak. Powered by the Crimson Gem of Sidorak, Marko is bestowed virtually limitless brute strength and durability, which he mostly uses for criminal pursuits and just general destruction. The Juggernaut is considered one of the strongest and most powerful beings on Earth. He is able to go toe-to-toe with the mightiest of heroes. Cain has plenty of remarkable strength feats, like the fact that he overpowered or subdued powerhouses like the Thing, Colossus, Captain Britain, Rhino, Thunderstrike, Red Hulk, Thor, Scar, and Hulk. He's broken through a 40-foot cocoon of solid steel. He's also fractured the North American tectonic plates, which is estimated to have taken hundreds of billions of tons. Juggernaut is able to run at 600 miles per hour. Once Cain starts going, absolutely nothing can stop him. They've been able to slow him down before, but he's continued to move forward. One time, he reduced to a skeleton, but he kept on going. Juggernaut possesses limitless superhuman durability, and actually has an invisible force field around his body that allows him to be completely immune to any and all purely physical attacks. He's invulnerable to heat, cold, electricity, radiation, Hulk's strongest punches, Thor's God Blast, Wolverine's adamantium claws, Cyclops' maximum optic blast, and even molecular disintegration by a reality warper. Juggernaut can still be hit, thrown around, or knocked back though. Cain can be harmed by mystical weapons, cosmic levelers, and extra-dimensional beings, but he can instantly heal from any and all injuries. He's even been reduced to a skeleton, and completely regenerative within seconds. In fact, as long as there's a single molecule of Juggernaut remaining, he's unable to die and will always return. The Juggernaut's armor is indestructible from physical forces and can be summoned at will. As Trion Juggernaut, while the Red Behemoth is able to possess the quote-unquote full power of the Gem of Sidorak. He's able to alter his physical size, coming to 100 feet tall. He's even punched through dimensions, tearing a hole through space and time with just a right cross. So who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now, Hulk vs. Juggernaut is one of the most iconic fights in all of comics, one that's been hotly debated amongst Marvel fans. It's actually one that we've already done here on this channel. But today we're going to up the ante a little bit. Use some of those powerful versions of the characters that we've ever seen. World Breaker Hulk versus Trion Juggernaut. So who comes out on top? Well, that's what we got to figure out. Now, the first question I think we need to answer is just who is World Breaker Hulk and who is Trion Juggernaut? Well, World Breaker Hulk is essentially a Hulk who is so angry that he literally can't control himself anymore, just lets loose. World War Hulk transformed into World Breaker Hulk, learning the dark truth of his wife's death. World Breaker is vastly stronger than World War. I mean, during the World War arc, when Hulk defeated the Avengers, Fantastic Four, X-Men Doctor Strange, Black Bolt, and Sentry, he was holding back the entire time. World Breaker Hulk is no longer holding back. He's powerful enough to shake the entire continent by just walking. And it was said that he nearly broke off the west coast in the Pacific Ocean. Just a few more steps would have destroyed the east coast. He's able to unleash thunderclaps that sent Fin Fang Foom flying backwards through a wall that was capable of holding back the mindless ones. And even just his aura that he generates, the very force of Hulk existing, enough to destroy a continent. Most impressively though, when World Breaker Hulk and World Breaker Red She-Hulk clashed, their attacks were generating enough force to destroy the planet. They were on with just the shockwaves from their punches. It damaged nearby moons and instantly vaporized powerful beings like the Wendigo and the Bide Beast. So, flip the script. Who's Trion Juggernaut? Well, he first appeared in Uncanny X-Men issue 369. Mark was actually able to gain complete access to the gem's power during the Trion saga, and increased his power 1,000-fold. Trion Juggernaut is capable of altering the size of matter, growing in size, levitation, absorbing and projecting energy, increasing his own strength, and creating portals through space-time just by throwing punches. But before we get into the fight between World Breaker and Trion, I first want to go over some of the previous fights in the comics, because these two have actually traded blows quite a few times throughout the years. Most of their fights end with no definitive winner, but Juggernaut has defeated Professor Hulk before. War Hulk, a Hulk who was hands with celestial armor and a servant for Apocalypse, they would defeat the Juggernaut, actually stopped him in his tracks and canceled out his momentum, which has never been done before. But I really want to focus on World War Hulk versus Juggernaut. Starting out, Kane wasn't really on good terms with Sidorak, and so was substantially weaker than he normally is. But still, he's able to injure the Hulk and draw blood of his attacks. But in a rematch, Sidorak elevated Juggernaut back to his normal levels, and Jug's able to put a massive beatdown on the Hulk. Just really let him have it. In fact, you can make a pretty strong argument that Kane was winning the fight. The only reason that World War Hulk ended up winning was because Hulk managed to use Juggernaut's momentum against him, sending him charging in the middle of a lake. And I think it's probably because Hulk was in a hurry to get Professor X. They didn't have time to go into a long, drawn-out fight to see who's stronger. But you could also say that Hulk knew he was going to lose that fight, so he just tried to get rid of Juggernaut as quickly as possible. Now, the reason I bring this particular fight up is because this is a classic version of Juggernaut versus a much more powerful version of the Hulk. In fact, World War Hulk is so powerful, he's able to beat pretty much every hero he went up against. He's never been angrier, no one can stop him. Both Iron Man and Mr. Fantastic were worried about Hulk killing everyone on the planet. Yet good old Juggernaut able to match up against this version of Hulk, injure him, and even hold the upper hand over him in the fight. Now, you might be saying that World Breaker Hulk is more powerful than World War Hulk. The fight doesn't necessarily count. And you're right, World Breaker Hulk is definitely stronger than World War Hulk, and arguably the strongest incarnation of the Hulk we've ever seen. Like we said, the big guy is able to destroy the planet that he's on just from the shockwaves of his punches, and damage and destroy nearby moons in the process too. Hell, Hulk's so powerful that just the very force of him existing enough to destroy a whole continent. And when Thor, along with other top-tier heroes, went up against him, they were told to stop and stand down, because no one can take Hulk down. This is the strongest Hulk has ever been. Worldbreaker Hulk is also incredibly durable, taking punches of Worldbreaker Red She-Hulk that resulted in the destruction of the planet and even nearby moons. It even took Scar's infamous 100 trillion ton punch, brushed it off like it was nothing, instantly attacking Scar after he landed a few states over. Hulk also has an impressive regenerative ability, being able to take massive sword slashes from Worldbreaker Red She-Hulk, brushing off being pierced with an old forged blade by Scar, and as World War Hulk, he kept on fighting even after repeatedly being stabbed in the head, having his eyes sliced out, being punched through the lungs by Sentry, or being punched all the way through his body by Doctor Strange. But circling back to the World War Hulk versus Juggernaut fight, well, if Worldbreaker Hulk is more powerful than World War Hulk, then Trion Juggernaut is definitely more powerful than normal Juggernaut too. In fact, the power gap between Trion Juggernaut and the normal Juggernaut is a whole lot larger than that same gap between World War and Worldbreaker Hulk. As Trion Juggernaut, well, the Red Behemoth is able to possess the full power of the Gem of Sidorak. He's able to alter his physical size, up to 100 feet tall, and even punch through dimensions, tearing a hole through space and time with just his fist. Now, here's the problem with Trion Juggernaut. I haven't really seen much of him. He only appeared in a couple comics. So the only thing we're allowed to go off of is him punching through space and time. This isn't all that uncommon, as Thor's done the same thing, even Hulk has punched through time before. However, the difference between these two guys punching through space and time and Juggernaut punching through space and time, is there's a whole lot more implied power behind Jugs. He's got the full power of Sidorak on his side, and so Juggernaut was really just using a fraction of his power in order to tear a hole right through the fabric of the universe. Realistically, if Juggernaut's got the full power of Sidorak, he's a bona fide universe buster. Hulk is to rely upon his own brute force, while Juggernaut has got the full might of an abject level mystic being behind him. Pretty clear advantage for Marco. Plus, to seal the deal, Juggernaut has always been more durable than the Hulk, even Worldbreaker Hulk. He really wasn't injured by multiple incarnations of the Hulk, including World War Hulk. He took Thor's most powerful attack, the God Blast, like it was nothing. He's even taking a blast from the Stranger, of being on par with Galactus. And when Juggernaut still just had a fraction of Sidorak's power, he was reduced all the way down to a skeleton, yet wasn't stopped, wasn't phased, and still went on to win the fight. And all this is Juggernaut with a fraction of Sidorak's power. Trion Juggernaut has got all of it. He's obviously vastly more durable, just like he's vastly stronger. So, end of the day, who wins? Well, Hulk vs. Juggernaut has always been a close matchup, and both have claimed some victories throughout the years. But in this fight, well, Worldbreaker Hulk just isn't enough to come out on top here. Trion Juggernaut has received a much, much bigger upgrade. He's got a much, much more powerful source backing him than just Gamma Energy, and he's ultimately going to be taking home the W. Trion Juggernaut wins. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts. Sign off in the comments down below. Also, be sure the like button, the subscribe button, turn on notifications, join the DanCo army, and I will see you next time.